to Connect to Jesus. Connect to Success. Hi. Welcome to Connect to Success with Ashley Owens on RVN. Where am I? RVN TV, 12:30 on Thursdays during our lunch break, where we talk to the power networkers in the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. I have the pleasure and the privilege to be interviewing Mr. Brian Barry today.
How you doing?
I'm so happy you're here, man.
Happy to be here.
I like your suit. Looks good.
Thank you.
I like the gray and the blue. Everyone's doing blues today. It's great.
Yeah.
Kind of digging it. Cool. So you are working with partnership schools, the Catholic partnership schools, and educating Catholic children.
Camden's children.
Thank you very much. I can't
see. I didn't even have to look at that.
My brain hurts. I'm so sorry. Do me a favor, tell people who you are, what you do, what makes you awesome.
Sure. So my name is Brian Barry. I am the Director of Development for Catholic Partnership Schools. Catholic Partnership Schools is a management organization that oversees 5 Catholic elementary schools in Camden City, New Jersey. So my job there is I'm the Chief Development Officer. So I'm in charge of raising all the money for the schools. Yeah.
Oh man, making it rain money for the
Yes.
Perfect. Yes. Don't they have churches for that?
They used to, but that's how actually we came about.
Did you really?
That's a very interesting segue.
Oh,
yeah. So
a
bunch of years ago, probably in 2008, 2009, the Camden Diocese wanted the parish schools to basically become self-sustaining. And the schools in Camden didn't have the support in the parishes to do that on an individual basis. So this management organization was formed, the partnership. So we still work in conjunction with the diocese. The diocese oversees us, but we have our own board, and we do all of our own fundraising for the organization. Yeah, so we've raised about $4.5 million a year.
Holy cow. And
Yep.
so what kind of fundraising do you guys do? Is it a range? I'm sure it's a range from events to drives and things like that. Tell me more about that process.
So typically, when you hear Catholic school,
Right.
most people think fundraising is
Car
you're
wash.
selling candy bars and car washes, right? When you raise $4.5 million, that would be a lot of candy bars and a lot of car washes. So what we focus a lot on major gifts, stewarding donors. We also have a number of large-scale events that we do every year. But, I mean, we're very fortunate in that we have some really good donors, especially in the South Jersey region.
Well, that builds, the relationships that you guys have built. It kind of sustains the amount of donations that are coming in.
Absolutely. So every year we run on a fiscal year, so July 1 to June 30. So if we had to rely on starting new every year, we'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of long-standing donors, people that have been there from the beginning. Wow. So we typically have to go out and raise about $2 million a year, so we can account for $2.5 to $3 million from donors year over year.
Incredible. Okay,
Yeah.
So how did you get involved?
By accident.
Oh, tell me the story.
So I was working for a nonprofit in Philadelphia, the First Tee, and I had left that organization, and I was going to move into a different field in the for-profit world.
Shame.
Yeah,
Shame.
I know. And my conscience got the better of me. But then I got in touch with a headhunter, and I went and had this conversation with the then executive director. And next thing I knew, I was.
Yeah.
3 years later, here I am.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got sucked in.
What was the deciding factor for you?
So I'm a product of Catholic school. Yeah. I really liked and enjoyed what they were.
Survived. Good for you.
Yes, I did, right? I really liked the mission and how they were doing it and who they were doing it for, and that really spoke to me. So my wife actually works in South Jersey at one of the Catholic high schools. So it's kind of a tie, and we've always been there. And so if you're passionate about it, it becomes easy for you.
So the mission and the money, what does that go towards? What kind of programs are you guys running?
Sure. So the 5 schools are spread throughout Camden, and just kind of a little backstory to that. When these schools, some of them have been around for about 100 years or longer. When we started as the partnership, there were 22 schools in Camden. Today there are 49 schools in Camden City. Which is 8 square miles, and there's 16,000 school-age kids. So the competition's large from a school standpoint, and basically our market share or our student body population has remained the same. And that's probably mostly attributed because of the academic rigor that we have and the achievement that these kids are attaining through standardized tests, their ability to go on to high school. Since we've started tracking it, 99% of our students are graduating from high school.
Wow.
And then 84% of them are going on to some post-secondary, mostly college or training to go into the trades.
Is there any other school or partnership that's doing that well?
In Camden, no,
Yeah.
but a lot of the charter schools, so the KIPS and Uncommons and Masteries have really made strides over the last few years. But academically, I think we are pretty far and away
Yeah,
up there.
I've never heard that kind of statistics
Yeah,
anywhere.
It really does blow you away what we are able to achieve, and I think that's because the parents really buy into what's going on there. We have teachers, a lot of our faculty have been there for a number of years, right? So consistency and structure breeds success in anything. So
for the programs every year that you guys have going on, what is your favorite that you'd like to plan and maintain and work on?
So, from an event standpoint, I do an event. I just started it last year. We actually had it in the middle of January during the polar vortex.
Oh my God, I remember that.
It was the coldest night of the year. It was 7 degrees and it was minus 11 wind chill. And we had it at Topgolf. It was a golf event. And that's really become last year was the first year we did it, but that quickly became one of my favorite events because we've turned it into more of a networking event outside of just a fundraiser type of thing. So it's not the come sit and have to listen to people, give their speeches or why you're here. It's more of why you're here, and let's just go have a good time, and it's a friend raiser.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so now as you are working and finding these donors and building these programs and having all these successes, who's a good strategic partner for you?
So that's actually one of the reasons when I came on board with the partnership was I got really involved in chambers and other civic and public organizations, was to kind of tell our story. So a lot of times, and I will answer this, I promise.
Take your time.
One of the problems that people always think, they see me coming or my organization coming and they think, we're going to ask you for money. And what they discount a lot of times is we have 1,000 students in our school, across our 5 schools. That's 700 families. That's 130 educators that we have in our faculty, plus our board of directors. So we kind of bring assets to the table as far as ways to partner together. So a good strategic partner for us is someone who's going to bring value to us, whether it's a service that we can use, whether it's dollars that they can bring to us, or it's something that they can provide to our students and families, the kind of the greater good, if you will.
Such as?
So one is Holman Automotive.
Okay.
They become a partner of ours. They've been longstanding supporters of ours, and they recently released this. It's called a Premier's Partner Program. So for our faculty, they basically get concierge service from, you know that word, right?
I do know how you spell it.
Yeah, right. No kidding. That and whore's divorce. So they provide concierge service to when you're buying a vehicle. So they expedite that whole process. So all of our faculty have that opportunity to take advantage of that program.
It's a nice perk.
It is a nice perk.
Yeah.
So that's something on a lower level. We've had bank partners that come in and offer financial literacy programs to families and things like that. So there's any number of ways. You just have to kind of creatively think about that, and that's what I help people do, is think a little bit more creatively than see me come in and write a check and it becomes transactional.
Yeah, it's very much a relationship building kind of experience.
It's exactly that.
So as you guys are building up these programs, what's coming down the pipeline?
So we're in the process of implementing what's called career technical education. So CTE is what we've been referring to it as. Career technical education is there's 16 career clusters in the world, right? I mean, it's almost all encompassing. But what's happened is college has become ridiculously expensive, right? So there's an article that was just published about a month ago that next year the University of Chicago will be the first university in the United States to surpass $100,000 per year.
Holy crap.
Yes, right. So the average person goes to school for 4.5 years. I mean, my brother went to college for 27 years. Yeah, so.
Sorry, I just died a little bit inside. Jesus.
So it becomes, there's going to be a breaking point at that, and you're also finding industries.
Wait, for $100,000 for what?
For 1 year of college.
For what? Is Jesus Christ himself giving you the lecture? What is?
I don't think he's qualified to teach college yet.
Not so much. Sorry, but
yeah,
wow.
it is.
Wow.
It's wild.
It's dumb.
It is.
It's dumb.
It's become almost borderline comical, right? What they're charging for college. So by seeing those numbers, and that's just one college in 2021, and then others are going to follow suit, and by 2025, either the bubble will burst or college will just be over $100,000 a year at major institutions. and college is not for everyone. So, you think as as everyone looks, right? You have kids and you want the best for your child, right? And everyone thought that was college, because college meant you're not going to go work a blue collar job, you're going to get a white collar job. Well, I got news for you. There's some really good blue collar jobs out there for you.
With benefits.
Yes, absolutely.
And like severance.
Yeah, exactly.
Like things that you don't even think about.
And steady work and
Right.
and all these crazy things, and you're not an at-will employee.
Yeah, a lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. So what we've kind of researched and realized is that a lot of our kids are probably not going to go to college, right? They're going to find another career path. Even though we've tracked a lot of these kids and they're going to college, they're not all graduating from college. And even if they do graduate from college, that's not
enough anymore.
And graduating from college in a major doesn't mean you're going to go work in that major for anyone.
Nope.
So what the idea of career technical is that you kind of create pathways and let kids explore different options, and it becomes more project learning. So instead of, that teacher that you had in 11th grade telling you need to know trigonometry, you're going to go maybe take a building trades class.
How to do your taxes.
How to do your taxes.
Oh my gosh.
You're interested in engineering or artificial intelligence. Like, let's go learn practical things that are then applicable. So when you graduate high school, you can then go out and go into a training program, an apprenticeship, an internship, or go to college and then get the appropriate training from there.
Are there any other schools doing this?
So there are other schools. There's actually districts throughout the country, or states that are doing this throughout the country. Colorado has implemented this. I believe it was Kentucky, Virginia, and Florida are also other states that have really moved into the CTE training. In the state of New Jersey, there's one other school in Hudson County, actually the Hudson County School District, and they call it Explore 2000. So that's their middle school and high schools are doing this, and that's what we'll do.
And what kind of successes are they seeing?
So it's really early. They've all probably in the last 3 years, so there's probably not a lot of data following that out. But what we're seeing is the business interest and the money's following that, because now donors and foundations want to support this because they see that this is the wave of the future. You're seeing, one of our great partners is Price Waterhouse. So they came in right before the holidays, and they did this presentation. They brought their robot in, and the kids went wild. But they talked about technology, and that in the next 5 years, there are 100,000 technology jobs that have not been identified. Look, they'll be there, but no one knows what those jobs will be, because technology is moving so much faster than industry can keep up with.
Or the market, yeah.
And there's not jobs that necessarily
exist right now.
How can you train someone for a job that you don't know is going to be there? So they want to be able to take the mind and go train you for that job specifically. So that's where our educational world is kind of going.
Brilliant. All right, everybody, when we return, we're going to talk to Brian about his tactical tips and practical takeaways in networking, especially in this space. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind-the-scenes footage, previews, and more.
Choosing Medicare coverage can be a very confusing and complicated process. Help is just a phone call away, 856-226-4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no-obligation Medicare benefits consultation, 856-226-4800.
Boardwalks built for fun. Legendary rock and roll clubs.
This is how we do it. Hippity hop.
Casinos by the ocean.
Hippity hop.
Now that's New Jersey. 130 miles of beautiful beaches. Solid rock. And everything in between.
Look in the window.
Now that's New Jersey.
Burlington County College.
Is now Rowan College of Burlington County.
still the same great faculty.
At a community college ranked top 50 in the nation.
Basically, we earn more and pay less.
RCBC students are accepted at Rowan University after graduation
and get a bachelor's degree for around $30,000.
Online and Mount Laurel students get a 15% Rowan University tuition discount.
And have many scholarship opportunities.
So you earn more and pay even less.
Rowan College of Burlington County.
Your path to success.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to strengthen our service members? What does it take to let them know that we stand behind them, wherever they are? What does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? And what does it take to prepare them for their future when their service to the nation is complete? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Share a message today at force.uso.org.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Connect to Success on RVN TV, 12:30 on Thursdays during your lunch break, where we talk to power networkers in the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. I am back, Mr. Brian Berry. I'm so glad you're here because you work in the nonprofit space with schools, and your tactical tips and practical takeaways and networking I really want to hear, because a lot of the guests that we have on the show are really more towards B2B, right? The
Sure.
networking piece to it. So sometimes they have to hit metrics, sometimes they've got, they're going to a ton of different events, they're part of different organizations, but especially with what you guys do, because you're looking for donors rather than you're not selling a product or a service. Tell me more about your strategy as you're going in, and how does it differ from the typical, what people think of as networking?
Sure. So I think a lot of times we have, when I go to events, and like I said before, I go to a lot of chamber events and other functions, people view me as either I'm going to come straight away asking them for money, or they can sell me something, right? I am the prime candidate they want my banking business because they see tuition coming in, they want, they want to sell me phones or IT, or take your pick of any things that they want to sell me. So that can wear on you a little bit, but you have to learn how to navigate that. And that's why I like to always, when I'm looking at an event, I always like to see the attendee list, right? Who's going to come. So
How do you typically get the attendee list?
So some of the chambers will post it on their website. Some will email it to you the day before. And it's so funny, like people just look at those emails and they go, oh yeah, okay, I remember I have to go to XYZ place at XYZ time, and never click on that little link to see all the people that are going to be in attendance. And for me, that's kind of like, that's where I'm doing my mining, is to see that list. And some chambers or some organizations will let you click on the attendee list from like that event last year, so you can at least get an idea of who would attend it.
Got it.
And I really like to do that, just to kind of navigate through, see who's going to be there, and identify one or two people that I really want to talk to. And I'll identify a need that we have in our organization, whether it's something that maybe I'm looking for in kind, or to create some partnership. And we're a nonprofit, and a nonprofit is, I say this all the time, is a tax status. It's not a business plan, right? So we do have money to pay for things. And it only makes sense for us. We can't walk around with our hand out all the time. It has to be a give back in my world. So I always look for that, like, who's that good partner?
Right.
If I need something immediately, if I have to triage something, it's always going to be something, and we're going to have to pay for that. And I'm not going to wait to go to a chamber function or something like that in order to do that. I'm going to call personal contact, and they know who they are, and they usually hide when they see me call. So looking at the chamber lists to see who's going to be in attendance. And then I always like to, I never talk about business when I'm at those events. I mean, you know this better than anybody. No one cares, right? I mean, what is it that you do? And they're asking that as a cursory question because they don't know what else to ask people to do. And I take it in completely different directions. What are you watching on Netflix? We talk about.
What are you watching on Netflix? Because I get one.
So
I didn't mean to take you off track.
No.
It's a really important question.
I'm going to say this, and we're on camera, all right? So I just watched The Circle.
I haven't seen it.
The Circle is like Big Brother. It's cringe-worthy reality television. So they all live in a high-rise, and they can't see each other. And the Circle is the social network that they interact. And some people are catfishes. You just get sucked in. So I just watched that.
I just finished The Witcher.
Did you like that?
Oh, dude, I loved it. I thought it was so good. I'm not a big fan. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Lord of the Rings. I mean, I enjoy them, but I'm not heavily into it. This was very good. And
Okay.
they tell it, and I read a few articles about it. They tell it from 3 different angles.
Oh, okay.
3 different timelines that get meshed in together. And it isn't until like the second to last episode you start to see it all come together.
Wow.
Ever seen 7?
Oh yeah.
7?
Oh yeah.
Brilliant. You're confused the whole way, but
Sure.
very captivated. It's similar on a lower scale, but they had the same 3 different timelines in one. It was great.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, continue. I'm sorry.
Interesting. Well, I mean, aside from The Circle, if you looked at my queue on Netflix, it looks like I'm training to be a serial killer. Like
murder all the time. Always murder.
the things that I've watched, people are like, just don't go into a dark room with him.
Where?
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
where do you work?
It's wild, but they're so good.
Yeah,
Those shows are so good. So anyway,
So, yeah.
and exactly what we just did is exactly what happens at those events. And you say or do something memorable that will stand out, and they're not afraid to re-engage you because it wasn't. Sometimes it's a painful conversation, and we've all been there, and we've all sat through those. You're like, please, somebody, you're looking around the room. And that's another big thing, is just kind of reading what's going on. People's body language, you can tell when they want to hit the eject button in a conversation, and let them out of it. Yeah. They're almost grateful to be let out of it. Sometimes they want to stay because they're going to hide, and you see them like swing around, so they're trying to avoid someone, and no one wants to admit that they're doing that, but
That's what it is.
people do it all the time.
How do you get out of conversations? Gracefully and politely and professionally.
I got a call. Let me take that.
Yep.
That's a great one.
It depends on the level of awkwardness, right?
It absolutely depends on the level of awkwardness. There's a group of us that show up at a lot of the same events, and it's a lot of eye contact where you can and depending on what kind of game is going to be played, they're either going to leave you hanging there or they'll come bail you out of that conversation. And I always like to engage people in conversations while I'm looking at the door, so I can say, oh, I'll be right back. I just want to go say hello to this person. Yeah. And that's always I'll be right back is probably a bold-faced lie, but it's also,
Here's 2 more that are pretty good. So I'm sure you can attest to this, that there's some conversations that could go by for 45 minutes and be totally fine with that. It goes by like a snap, but you have to continue to work the room. And there's other conversations where it's dragging on, you're saying all the deep meaningful business conversation questions, and they just don't want to stop talking about themselves, and it seems to be a very one-sided conversation, and it's just time to move on, right?
Yep.
So the 2 kind of things I'd like to do, or at least utilize it so that way it can get extended even further, is always ask the person that you're talking with that is a good conversation for 45 minutes, is there anybody else here you think I should meet? That way you turn them into your own networking concierge, and then they get an introduction.
Yeah.
Or also, what other events do you go to? What organizations are you a part of? Because half the time, if they're part of the membership committee or the board, they have to bring in guests to get a quota. So I get invited to wonderful events just by asking that question, and you get a chance to now get invited to something else, get to learn more about the organization, and then you get a free ticket somewhere because, one, you had a good conversation, and then you get it.
That's a great idea.
Leveraging it, yeah. For the other people where it's a little harder, best just look to any woman and be like, I need your help. Because we're subject matter experts in handling awkward conversations. We're pretty good at that. So any woman's going to be able to help you. But always ask how can we continue this conversation? Can I connect with you on LinkedIn? Or bring them over to a high foot traffic area, so that way they may get distracted, or at least you can kind of keep the momentum going without feeling like you have to lie to them to get to the next session.
Absolutely.
Also, if you got kids, use them.
Oh, I do.
My kids got diarrhea. I have to go. It's a bad life.
That's fantastic.
But just some of those things. I talked about this at a presentation the other day, and I was talking to a big group of women, and I just kept telling them, I'm like, here are 11 graceful ways to leave the conversation that work 100% of the time. And I was like, y'all know how to do this.
Yeah, this is not new.
This is not your subject matter experts. Just look to yourselves. You're good to go. But it's funny when I give that presentation to men and to women. I'm like, women, please raise your hand. Sirs, please take a look.
That's it. Yeah, for sure.
So if you can give your top 3 takeaways when it comes to networking, what would those top 3 tips be? Because you talked about being memorable.
Yep.
Right? You'd also talked about making sure that the conversation is about personal, not necessarily about professional.
Yep.
And what was the last one?
The last one is reading the body language.
Reading the body
Yep.
language.
So picking up on those kind of social cues of what is being done or said, and you can see when people are fidgeting, looking to get out of the conversation or something like that.
And just be conscious of things, self-aware of what's going on.
Yes, exactly.
Now, and within your space, who is, I know we talked about strategic partners and who can give you value. Who do you like working with the most? Like what industries do you typically kind of gravitate towards because they're usually really involved in the nonprofit world?
So insurance.
Yeah.
Insurance and wealth managers, so insurance companies in general are very good partners, and wealth managers are good. And wealth manager can be anything from the individual, wealth manager straight on, because they can provide a litany. I mean, basically their portfolio of people, of clients, can be potential donors to us, but they also are looking to get their name out there. So because we have a lot of events, so anyone who's looking to put their name out in the ether to our database is a good partner for us.
Fantastic. Do me a favor, Brian, please look into that camera and tell people how they can find you.
You can reach me on LinkedIn, so it's bbarry94 is my LinkedIn handle, and you can reach me at bbarry@cspschools.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being
No
here.
problem. Thank you.
I loved the conversation.
Yeah, it's great.
We're going to talk more about Netflix when we return.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next week. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email Ashley at ashleysys.com. I'd love to have you talk about your tactical tips and practical takeaways in networking. And we will see you next week.